What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is November the 26th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, as far as data points, only thing to really watch for is the FOMC minutes. That's coming out at 2 o'clock. Over the last two issuances, it's not really caused any negativity. If anything, it causes the market to go higher as a byproduct. So we'll just wait and see. Powell has done a couple of speeches in between, and I think we generally know what the minutes are going to state already. But during power hour, you should see some volatility as people start to kind of hedge and maybe panic sell associated to tomorrow's PCE and GDP. So kind of just stay tuned for that. Right now, futures are moving higher. So NASDAQ up 0.25, S&P up 0.27, and Dow, though, is down 0.38. When the news about Trump and the tariffs associated to Canada, Mexico, and then I believe a flat 10% across the board associated to China, when that was announced, futures did get hit quite hard, as you can kind of see this little blip, but didn't really last all that long. So yeah, we'll just have to, I guess, wait and see. Market didn't really seem too concerned over that in the grand scheme of things, but I guess generally speaking, a lot of people knew that's what was coming, logically at least. But fear and greed index is under the greed category, meaning people's appetite for risk is on the table. So you'll have a lot of stocks moving higher and very resemblant based on a lot of the stocks I'm going to be talking on, with the exception of Sofi. So right now, this morning, it's just consolidating. No actual news or SEC filings associated to Sofi to really prompt that, other than the fact that it did hit continuous 52-week highs for pretty much like a week straight. And so you're going to have some profit taking, some consolidation, first sign of it bouncing off of a key resistance level. You were going to have some individuals just wanting to get out because of that. So in my opinion, it bouncing off of this R3 yesterday kind of just spooks some individuals. Nothing really crazy. It's only down 14 cents pre-market. So like I said, nothing really to panic over. And even if it does consolidate a little bit further, I think that's still generally fairly healthy for just the technicals, because right now SoFi is rather hot, very overbought, so something to kind of keep in mind. But if it does consolidate, just watch for this 1547 to hold, 1522. I don't see that 1522 to be touched unless the FOMC minutes are quite negative. But aside from that, 1573 and then 1589 are going to be the next strong targets for SoFi to hit. So kind of just stay tuned. Going into today, 13.94% of the free float is being shorted. It works out to be 148.51 million shares overall are being shorted. Shorts have been just returning like crazy because they've been losing a hell of a lot of money. So ever since September the 16th, the peak of 19.56, they've returned. I still do feel that they will continue to return up until probably around that 11% range. So still a lot more for them to kind of return. So moving on, Rivian. Rivian's having a pretty kick-ass day following yesterday's kind of rumored news associated to California, but today's news was this. So it looks like they did get a conditional commitment from the US Department of Energy loans program for up to 6.6 billion to support the construction of our next generation manufacturing facility. So that's very good news. Rivian seems to be falling into a lot of good luck. And so, yeah, it's, even though the whole EV sector is largely suppressed and not necessarily the best place to invest right now, Rivian seems to have a lot of these blips. So especially with the whole Volkswagen deal when it was announced, and then just their earnings, like they seem to be doing like a-okay somewhat, given the circumstances. So again, something to keep in mind. 18.67% of the free float is being shorted, though. Works out to be 138.9 million shares overall are being shorted. And right now with it at $12.64, just trading between these 2 points, so this S1 and this S2. So 1481 and then 1094 are going to be kind of the next strong support and resistance points. So just stay tuned for that. Bitcoin's been pulling back, so as a byproduct, a lot of miners are going to get dragged down, especially Mara's gone up quite a lot. So yeah, it's kind of pulling back down 5.07%. 21.37% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 67.31 million shares overall are being shorted. So similar kind of scenario to SoFi, just any shorts in this stock have been losing a ton of money. So most likely they'll try to double down and suppress it as much as they can today. But with it at 25 and change, it is trading between this R1 and this pivot. So 23.49 will be that next strong support. I don't really see that being touched today whatsoever. And then 26.92 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And similarly, I don't really see that being touched either. So most likely today is just going to be just some consolidation and stuck within this range. So let me know your thoughts on that. This stock right here, RGTI, was very hyped up, was getting a lot of volume, but now it is pulling down 17.45%. And I absolutely hate seeing this scenario. Nothing is worse than kind of a stock moving higher and then the company dilutes. Like, it's the worst sentiment killer ever. So that's why it's down a little bit. Because they did this. So this morning at 8 a.m. they did do a 100 million registered direct offering of common stock priced at the market under NASDAQ rules. So it looks like around $2 per share, I believe. So of course, this is where most likely once the market does open, it'll get kind of pushed a little bit lower to that $2 range. Typically, that's what does happen. But you never know, with the FOMO that's been in this stock, it could get continued to push higher. Like I said at the beginning, people's appetite for risk is on the table, so people might honestly ignore this. It's happened in the past, but I absolutely hate seeing this type of scenario play out. It's just very, very unfortunate. But right now, 15.91% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 26.86 million shares overall are being shorted. It is on the threshold list, so kind of just keep that in mind. It's been on the threshold list, looks like since around November the 18th. So that's when it joined the list. In theory, anything's on that threshold list for 13 consecutive trading days. The SEC should be doing something with the market makers, but that most likely will be next week. So with it at $2 and change, it is trading kind of off of this R1. So just watch for it to regain this strength to get above this $2.76. So if FOMO does kick back in, just watch for that. Moving on, Smci is consolidating a little bit, but it is getting a normal amount of volume today. So as you can kind of see, no news, no SEC filings. So I think today is just more of a consolidation based on the technicals. And so 18.81% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 94.15 million shares overall are being shorted. I've been very surprised about shorts and how, given the circumstances, what has been surrounding Smci, there isn't more of them. But I kind of see, again, that's kind of a positive, if that makes sense. But right now with it at 38 and change, it is trading right above this R2. So 38.06 will be a strong support, so just watch for that. And then flip side, next kind of point to go to is 43.55. I don't see that being touched today, but definitely it'll be flirting with this R2 most likely. So kind of just stay tuned. Smci is, in my opinion, a pretty good buy. I did state that when it was at $20 under my Patreon. So under there, I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them are absolute home runs, and such as this one. So I did state that it'd be roughly around $35. That was my short-term price target. And then if they give some operational news and updates, then you can easily see between 45 and 50. So I think there still is a lot more room on the table, and a lot of people playing this through options. So definitely do your own due diligence at the end of the day. On a side note, if you want to take a look at a lot of my buy orders and signals, pop over to my Patreon in the description below and also the comments. So let me know your thoughts on all of these stocks. Do you own any of them? Are you trading any of them? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.